Well, CJ, what movie did we watch today?
So, I'm going to try to attempt to get the name right on this because it's a very long title and it's kind of not the most memorable title. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie?
That's right. The Day the Earth Blew Up, an obvious play on the title The Day the Earth Stood Still, because this film sort of takes inspiration from those earlier black and white 1950s era sci-fi B movies, sci-fi horror. I could also tell that there are elements of War of the Worlds.
Getting a big body snatchers thing.
Body snatchers, or maybe a little bit of the Blob even.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect any of that going into the thing, but I also had no expectations going into this thing because I knew absolutely nothing about this movie going into it.
You didn't even know it existed.
I did not know this existed until yesterday when you texted me to come and see this movie. So first of all, let me just say I'm glad we came out and saw it. It's, despite something that Warner Brothers is either trying intentionally to bury or doing the worst job possible to promote, it was actually a really good movie, really true to the source material, good nostalgia without feeling like nostalgia bait. I don't know why this isn't being talked about more.
So, from what I was reading, it was originally created as like a follow-up to this newer Looney Tunes series. It was just called Looney Tunes Cartoons, I believe.
Another show I had no idea existed.
On HBO Max starting in 2020. And yes, to the point that they're terrible at marketing animation. I don't know how I came across this film, but I just did, and I found it was going to be playing in the theater here. It was supposed to come out the end of February, the last day. Then it was delayed at the 11th hour for some reason. It already premiered a couple times, over in Europe and then in LA last year because they wanted to have it eligible for the Academy, I guess.
Right.
But I didn't even know about this other cartoon until I read about it yesterday because I was reading about the director, and he had pitched that idea after he did Uncle Grandpa for Cartoon Network.
Which, admittedly, when I saw that, I would not have had any faith in this person as a creative talent, but it's one of these post 2000s Cartoon Network animations that just to me comes off as very kiddie and over the top. I don't know who. I guess this must be for little kids because I have no investment in it whatsoever. But it's one of those generational shows where I just feel like Cartoon Network sort of lost any grasp they had on an audience, and obviously lost my generation with it. So,
well, despite that, this, as you said, is very faithful to Looney Tunes, especially the original style from the earlier ones. I'm thinking from the 40s to the 60s, maybe.
Yeah.
Those earlier designs of the characters when they were shorter and a bit more
cartoony.
Yeah, cartoony, goofy looking. And I like Duck Dodgers.
Same.
The series that was in 2003, I believe that went on.
Somewhere in that, I mean, you would know the year better since you just rewatched the entire thing, but I know it was around that era.
And I, of course, like the original Duck Dodgers short.
Planet X, is that it?
Can you do it, Dodgers?
Oh,
this is my second favorite thing in the universe.
Because there's no one knows his way around outer space like Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
God, I love this stuff.
And I used to watch this film a lot. It was a VHS tape. It was called the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie. And it was kind of like, you ever hear of maybe it's the wrong comparison, but you ever hear of Rod Serling's Night Gallery?
Well, I know who Rod Serling is, but
it's like another Twilight Zone where it's I guess you'd call it an anthology series, episodic. It's a new story each time, and he starts out in this gallery where I haven't seen it myself, to be honest. But anyway, the Bugs Bunny the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie is framed from Bugs Bunny going through a gallery and presenting all these old shorts. So it's like a selection of the greatest hits of the various Looney Tunes cartoons. So I used to watch that a lot. And I remember way back going to the Warner Brothers store in a mall, I think in Queens maybe, or maybe
we've
just
talked about this
outside New York.
Before.
Yeah, that store is long gone. So from a very early age, everything DC, everything Looney Tunes. I used to go to Six Flags often. All those.
Rest in peace, King Duckin, just got to say.
Right. That
Fair
just took
respects,
that down.
moment of silence.
And I think the Green Lantern coaster too, for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever rode that. King Kai made a point of, and the Superman coaster I did every single time I was down there. But
Yeah, that's a good one.
God, I haven't been to Six Flags in forever. Weird tangent. Moving on.
Yeah. So, anyway, my point is that the love of Looney Tunes runs deep, and that's why I was interested in seeing this. It was call it a professional curiosity, because it's like, oh, they're releasing something theatrically that's Looney Tunes related. Where's Coyote versus Acme? Release it already, and it's all 2D animation, which is kind of a rarity. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you'd say it's a generational thing almost, but I mean, Looney Tunes are timeless. It's something that's been going on strong for, over 80 years. I mean,
I think they're more timeless than the Disney characters.
And to be honest, it's something that it's clearly marketed towards kids to the extent that it is marketed. It's clearly made for kids, but there's a lot of adult jokes in there. I mean, we're two people in our late 20s who enjoyed watching this.
Well, look at our beards. Just look.
Oh no, not the duck!
Man.
The duck?
That's right, the duck.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
Who's there? Get it off me! Get it off me! Get it off me! Get it off me! Oh, is it over?
I guess let's get into the actual film. So, I have to say the thing I liked most were the visual gags and the way they used the animation.
Yeah, it's all classic Looney Tunes. I mean, it was all very cartoony, very over the top, very blink and you miss it type sight gags that really flow really well.
Lots of eyeball stuff. I like the eyeball stuff.
Lots of eyeball stuff, a lot of mallets appearing out of nowhere, lots of, people blowing up and then becoming completely unharmed.
Lots of Daffy Duck going, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
He was always my favorite of the Looney Tunes, which is why I went on that tangent when we were talking about multiverses. Where the heck is Daffy Duck? How could you make a game about Warner Brothers characters and have Looney Tunes and you don't launch with the duck?
In a world where multiverses wasn't a failing franchise or wasn't a failing concept, it probably would have released both of these characters in conjunction with the new season. But obviously, multiverses is dead, so...
Well, we already talked enough about that. Go watch our videos on that. There's 3 of them. Long ones.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess there's no point in hiding spoilers now. It's pretty... we already talked about some of the basic themes and basic concepts and inspirations behind this thing. I don't think there's really much you can ruin in the way of spoilers.
Yeah. Well, so the plot is about... Well, I won't spoil it right away. It's an alien invasion, basically people getting body snatched through this goo stuff that combines with gum in a gum factory.
Right.
It's very weird, right? The whole setup of it.
Yeah, I mean...
how did they think this up?
Yeah. I mean, it's... I don't know. The bubblegum factory thing seems like something out of, early 20th century. I could see, an old Looney Tunes cartoon showing characters working in a gum factory. That feels very...
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever done that before, as far as I know, but it feels like something they would have done, in the original series.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they came up with the inspiration for it, obviously. I don't think anyone knows except for the creative team, but yeah, I mean, every part of it really felt like it flowed really well, and I wouldn't have thought to combine these two parts, but it's this goofy, over-the-top premise that also feels grounded.
Mm-hmm. I will say the only thing where... I don't want to say it lost me, but I think sort of in the middle part, it got a little repetitive, redundant, when they were going through the whole plan on what they're going to do about all these people who have now been taken over by the gum. They're basically... they turn into the classic definition of the word zombie. Zombie, right? Where it's someone that was mind-controlled, not undead.
Sure.
And then they're going through and then they're de-zombifying everyone. So, I don't know, that general part of the film, I don't know, my attention started to lapse a little bit, but then it picked up towards the end. So, I liked the beginning part a whole lot. There was a lot of good visual gags there, with the farmer and everything, when they're going through the montage of them growing up together. Yeah, that was all
great. A lot of the setup, I think, worked really well. If you do want to get into spoilers, because I feel like we've kind of reached that point where we need to get into spoilers.
Well, I guess, would you recommend this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you grew up on Looney Tunes, I think it hits all the right beats. It's like I said, nostalgia without feeling overly nostalgia bait. I mean, it's an entirely original story that features characters that everyone knows. So
yeah, I don't imagine a lot of people are going to go see this because, well, one,
as of
there's very little awareness, and two, we went in there. It's a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
there was only
it was like
one
a couple and a
family.
little kid. Yeah,
yeah.
So
that's it.
At time of recording, it's made $2 million against a $15 million budget. It already had a low budget going into the thing. Like $15 million is nothing for a major film release.
It has decent reviews.
It does. It's I think an 86% of Rotten Tomatoes time of recording.
Yeah, it was the critics.
So yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing that if it had been marketed right, I think would have been a huge success. But Warner Brothers doesn't seem to like to invest in animation for some reason.
Yeah, I really don't get it. Warner Brothers has been on a canceling kick with animation. A bunch of Cartoon Network's things, I think, have gone away, or they're heavily downsizing their
Cartoon
animation
Network
department.
Channel, I don't even think exists anymore in any meaningful way, right? The channel probably is still there, but I don't think they're adding any new animations to it. It's pretty much shifted all to Max.
I think it's shifting a lot to Adult Swim. Because the only thing I can recall, and maybe it was just because I was paying more attention to it, that was being promoted was Smiling Friends.
Well, that and Rick and Morty, which I think still has another 40 episodes or something before it's got to be renewed.
But they had a Scooby-Doo animated film canceled. It was a sequel to the first one. And then, like I said, Coyote versus Acme, which was, still live action hybrid. Just get them out of the vault. What do you got to lose?
Yeah, there were a couple little digs on Warner Brothers animation there. I don't know if you picked up on that, but it's one of the gags was, oh, what are we going to do for a living? Let's go be animation executives.
Yeah. And they're making little jabs at corporate drones. Yeah, so I enjoyed the visual gags, some of the verbal
meta humor,
jokes.
I think all worked pretty well without feeling like it was forced, which is something that's very everyone does meta humor now, and it's so overdone. So to have it be fresh and feel like it's not trying to do that is refreshing.
It was just the right amount for a Looney Tunes production, because again, going back to the Duck Dodger series, it also did that meta humor fairly often, to the point where I think at the end of the series, it's framed that Daffy Duck and Porky Pig were actually actors on a space show. So you see them at the end, and on set.
Sure.
I think it was something along that line. So yeah, they're no stranger to going meta. Or the Animaniacs, I think, probably did that often.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so it's a staple of the series.
Sure.
So the plot, what can we say about the plot?
Yeah, I mean, it's all fairly basic. I will say the one spot where they lose me is the alien's motivation really makes no sense if you're following along with the story. It makes sense after the fact, but it's he's so sinister in the way he's going about enacting this plan that, yeah, obviously the audience is going to think this is an evil dude who's trying to destroy the Earth.
It's so unambiguous not subtle.
With that,
There are really no hints that. So, in case you don't know what we're talking about, towards the end, it's revealed that he's not actually trying to take over the Earth, but he's trying to save it. But the way he's going about it and the way they're presenting it is all completely one-sided. There's no, what do you call it when something is set up early on, it's just a little thing and then it comes back in the end, Chekhov's gun, I guess?
Yeah.
There were a few of those.
Sure.
With, Daffy Duck's hoo-hooing.
Right.
And the thing with the paper gun.
Yeah, I'd say Chekhov's gun is...
The gum, the exploding gum. So there were a few things like that, but none with the alien. And then by the end, you're kind of left wondering, why is he actually there? Why does he care about the Earth at all? Where is he from? He's just there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason they give is boba tea, which, okay.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
Which, look, for Looney Tunes logic, I'm willing to look past it. It's they clearly threw that in as a gag, because... I mean, of all the things on Earth that are valuable, who the cares about boba tea?
Bubble tea is pretty good.
Yeah, not for me.
Oh,
sweet.
really?
Over the top.
So his motivations are kind of and then you have the scientist guy, where I actually had forgotten at the very beginning.
Yeah, there's a
he
lot of
spots.
And you see the asteroid falling down.
Yeah, he spots a giant asteroid, and then I completely forgot about it until they reintroduced it at the end. So
yeah, no, I mean that was well played. All in all, I think the writing was solid. I mean, there really weren't any parts that really bugged me. I mean, again, the alien thing, I can look past the overly cartoony villain because that's what you've come to expect from Looney Tunes. I mean,
so a huge compliment I can pay it is that it didn't make me feel like I was being talked down to. I didn't feel like I was being treated as a toddler. It felt like one of those quality animations with, I I specifically said this about when we did the talk on Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's something you could watch as a kid and enjoy, just at the face value of what you're seeing. And then it's something you can watch older, with more cognizance of what's going on and appreciate it more. Like we said, the dialogue, the meta jokes.
I mean, that's what I was saying. It's like, again, we went in here as fully grown adults who grew up watching Looney Tunes, and this movie felt like it was as much for us as it was for the kids in the audience.
Have we grown
in
up?
the audience?
We're still
Does
watching
anyone ever
cartoons.
actually grow up? I mean, come on.
I think,
Adulthood starts at 30. What are we doing?
yeah. So, yeah, we're just starting. Anyway, I'm not sure what more we can say. I mean, I think I said this already, but I don't expect it to get a high box office earning.
No,
see...
It's going to be a bomb. I mean, I wish it the best. I really genuinely hope people see this movie, but it's going to bomb.
I did see it was trending on Twitter last night, like late last night, so there might be a little bit of buzz about it. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the future of WB, we should just rename our channel WB Rants at this point. The future of WB includes more original 2D animations, theatrically maybe. I don't know, maybe it'll take something big like the DC brand to get that going, because I think James Gunn said he wants to do theatrical DC animations, like one per year.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about doing, I mean, we'll see what happens, because the DC universe is just starting at this point, but he was talking about basically having this whole convergence of animation, gaming, and major motion pictures and series that are all part of this DC universe, but, I mean, again, we've only seen Creature Commando so far, so
Yeah.
whatever plans he has, are subject to change. Who knows?
And I remember saying, maybe it was just like in private to whoever, that, they really should bring Looney Tunes back. Why don't they use those characters? But apparently they did, and I just wasn't aware the whole time it was going on, so.
Well, it's not just you.
Yeah, market your stuff better, WB. Come on now.
WB.
And remember, mud spelled backwards is dumb.
Do you need marketers? Do you want listen, we know how to use social media, right? We can make posts anyway.
Probably get more engagement than anything they're posting.
Yeah. Well,
That's all, folks.
that's all.